trouble. Must win.
Must win.
Must win.
Ravens go into Cleveland and they don't
couldn't
make a
lose that
sandwich.
game. Oh, no.
They don't put their feet up. They didn't even get a soda pop.
Really?
No.
The best team in the league
got a
lost
couple-
3 times.
Couple sips of Kool-Aid.
They do let Jameis throw 3 touchdowns and lose 29-24. Here's Lamar.
Every loss is frustrating. Yeah, because we've been doing so good. You know, offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. We just been putting points on the board, keeping teams out the end zone. We just got to play better. People probably look at Browns' record and be like, oh yeah, that's a sorry team. But it's like, this is the NFL. I always say that this is the NFL, and any given Sunday a team can be good. Any given Sunday a team can, you know, wake up and just it'll be their day, be their day. We just got to play better all around. That's all.
I think Lamar was trying to be complimentary there. It felt like he was dissing the Browns. Like, they look like a sorry team. Brew, are you worried about your Ravens?
Not this loss. It happens. And there were smart people saying years ago, Jameis Winston was a dark horse MVP candidate, and he was. They'd be playoff contenders.
Yeah.
If they were playing Jameis all season.
Yeah, or Flacco.
But a loss, it happens. I'm not worried about that. I judge everything by can they beat the Chiefs. And with this defense, now I'm still optimistic because they got a long way to go. This defense is not a Super Bowl defense. Now, they have a culture of defense under John Harbaugh that I think they can improve over time, but they better get going now. Because, and they're 26th in scoring defense.
We can show you their defensive numbers.
Let's see the numbers.
Yeah, I mean,
last year they were
not
top.
good.
Last 2 years they've been top 3 in scoring defense. They're 25th in yards allowed.
Yeah.
Last 2 years they've been top 10. And they got the worst pass defense in the league.
Yeah.
Now, some of the analytic numbers show that they're covering guys. There's not a lot of separation.
Whatever.
But the problem is this. Miscommunication and blown coverages. And look at this score when the Browns went ahead 20-17. Look at what's going on before the play. Yeah. That's my problem. Why is that happening? I respect John Harbaugh as a coach and a man. He's got a Super Bowl. But look, they look like a poorly coached team to me right now.
No,
I respect. What is that, Coach?
Well, sometimes there's probably a blitz to formation, so they're looking for the side that the blitz is going to come to. I think initially they thought it was going to be set to the left. Then it was a 3-by-1. They were bringing the pressure to the right, so they just had to get the guys over there. And that does happen. I don't think that's necessarily
But
poorly
this
coached.
happens to them every game.
Well,
every game they seem to have.
I think it's more a function of they just won two big games. They're riding a 5-game winning streak. They're playing a team that's lost 5 in a row. Jameis Winston hasn't started in 2 years. And so these are the hardest games to coach, to try to get your guys up for this. And they just figured at the end of the game they'd figure out a way to win it.
I get that.
Without having to be as tight as they need to be.
Yeah, I don't mind the loss. You're going to have regular season losses. They lost to the Browns last year.
Yeah, but
all right?
losing to 2
it's
one-win
the
teams is
miscommunication.
Yeah, I mean, losing to the Raiders and the Browns twice in the first 8 weeks of your season is pretty bad. Listen, this was the best. This all week long I had to listen. This is the best team in football. All week I had to hear it. I had to hear how the defense is coming on and the offense is unstoppable.
DPs.
The offense has 2 MVPs.
Well,
and then in this game, this is what happens when the Ravens lose. People are like, man, why Derrick Henry only get 11 carries? Yeah. But the reason is because all week long, everyone was singing Lamar's song about how his league MVPs never played better.
Yeah, we got to give more than 11 carries.
Okay, well, but so it's, sure.
Saw this.
Guys, the Baltimore Ravens in the year 2024 have played 11 games. They've lost 5 of them. The Baltimore Ravens, just facts.
Calendar year?
Okay, so, yeah, that was fine. This year, they've played 8 games. They've lost 3 of them. If you barely win more than half your games, you're not a juggernaut. And the Ravens have been discussed like a juggernaut. They're not.
What are they?
They're a good team. They're a good team.
They're one of the Chiefs are up above everybody, and then the Ravens are with just about anybody else.
Nah, I don't know that I agree with that.
Someone's got to be the second best team.
Right, Detroit is better than them.
No, in the AFC.
In the AFC, you won't like my answer.
Don't take Bills.
They pounded the Bills.
And the Chiefs beat them, and I heard all week they were better than the Chiefs.
Welcome back to the show. A month ago, Rodgers beat the Patriots and afterwards said the Jets' biggest struggle was going to be handling success. Oh, well, they haven't won since. And after this loss to the Patriots, interim coach Ulbrich said, quote, "This is a moment of darkness." Here's Rodgers' response.
Yeah, I've been in the darkness. You got to go in there, make peace with it. Offensively, our goal has just got to be score 30. Doesn't matter what the other two sides are doing. You know, we have trust in our defense and teams, but if we're not scoring 30, we're underachieving. This offense can do that every single week.
Buddy, what are you talking about? First of all, can I just take off before I pass the ball? If I was like, Nick, I've been in the darkness every night. It gets dark in my house. Like, buddy, it's not you. It's the whole world. We're in the darkness for about a third of our life.
Also, the Jets are the only team in the league to not score 25 this year. So I think scoring 30 regularly would be
Well, the
tough.
season just started.
All right, listen.
Do you think he was jabbing at the defense?
No, I think they're flailing about.
Yes.
Because and by the way, shout out KW for calling this every step of the way last week.
Obvious.
Shout out. So KW right there, good job on this game. Shout out to this guy for calling this season every single step of the way, and reverse shout out to that guy and that guy for buying in to this fraudulent team and this old injured quarterback that was all of a sudden going to simultaneously be the zaniest, wackiest guy in sports and also the unquestioned leader, coach, offensive coordinator, assistant GM of the worst franchise in sports. Maybe bit off a little more than he could chew. But here's the deal. They lose against Denver, and the blame went to the sloppy conditions, if you remember.
Yep.
Just a long time ago, but that's what happened. They then lose to Minnesota, and Saleh gets canned. They lose to Buffalo, and we all get a lesson in the red line. Be on the red line. You got to be on the red line, Mike Williams, and Devontae Adams is going to come. They lose to Pittsburgh, and it's about some weird, esoteric energy.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fine because Devontae Adams gave the greatest speech I've ever heard in 20 years.
Unbelievable.
And now they lose to the Patriots, and my guess is we're going to find out in the next 24 hours the kicker gets fired, which is fine.
He does deserve
but that won't solve anything.
He should.
A normal franchise that every single loss someone had to be held to account, the discussion this week would be the soon-to-be 41-year-old quarterback, do we think we can get the team a jolt by benching him? But that's not going to happen. And so they got no moves, Coach. They got no moves, and they're just a bad team that plays bad and then loses to bad teams.
Well, we're not necessarily.
Look, it's tough when you have a former Hall of Fame quarterback from Green Bay starting for your team to make a lot of moves, and I went through that. I experienced that. Now, we started 8-2, so it's a little bit different. We were good at the time, so I assumed that the same thing would happen here when you add better quarterback play, but it hasn't. Now, being in the darkness, whatever metaphor he wants to use, enough of that stuff. This has happened before where a team started 2-6. Jacksonville in 2022 started 2-6. Tennessee was very good. I think they were 7-3 or something like that.
Are you planting seeds of
Well,
hope?
here's what I'm saying.
they got a chance?
This isn't unprecedented for it to happen. It happened 2 years ago where Jacksonville started 2-6, won the division.
Trevor Lawrence ain't walking through that door, Coach.
But I'm saying if I'm not in that building, it's not that far in the past where this has happened, and they do have the ability to climb out of this. Now there's no more fingers to point, and it gets to a point where once they're past the point of no return, and it's nice to have the game on Thursday. This is a team of mercenaries. So you've got Riddick and you've got these guys that have potential big money down the line. Once the mercenaries see that there is absolutely no chance, this could go from bad to worse.
Well, they should trade those guys after Thursday.
Well, you could, but there's no head coach that they're rallying for. It's not like a young core of players they're rallying for. It's not like this great future they're rallying for. Like they have a group of mercenaries that have been put together to win games, and once you hit that threshold of, it's done, then that thing can go so south.
One correction. Oddly, Sauce Gardner is still playing for Saleh.
Well, in that case,
He's not playing very well.
so you're saying there's a chance.
I'm going to say something I don't think I've ever said or even felt like saying on this show.
Okay.
Nick was right about the Jets. Or Nick was right, period. I've never said that on this show. But
did you say
the only thing.
It's early in the season, bro.
It's
Give him a
not
chance.
close.
Here's the only thing.